Good morning. Welcome to the next session. And as we discussed in the last session, limitations of our data science project and limitations of the data science. Now, today I am going to, in short, details about machine learning models. So, what are machine learning models and how do we incorporate those models in our data science project? So, we have seen that we need a algorithm to solve a problem. So, if you remember last time diagram, we have a algorithm, and algorithm will give me a prediction or a decision making. So, we may have to note, we may have noticed that algorithm in our example work with different data type. So, your data type may not be similar. For example, age of the people will be a number. Age cannot be in a fractional part. Similarly, account number cannot be in fractional part, account number has to be a whole number, but these two numbers are different because age has to be a purely a numeric data, whereas account number can be a purely a numeric plus text data. So, the data type differs, and similarly our transactions, number of items bought on the internet and distance traveled by a car, all these are basically different data type. So, in digital advertising example, for example, we have a structured customer data. Now, let me explain you something called a structured data and unstructured data and non-structured data. For example, when we are in the examination system, everything is a structured data: name of the course, subject, marks, mid 1 mark, mid 2 mark, final examination mark. This is highly a structured data. That means you are suppose our mid exam is for 20 mark, then naturally it cannot be more than 20 at all, or it cannot be less than 0. Similarly, name of the student cannot be any arbitrary name, or a hall ticket number of a student cannot be a arbitrary name. Those kind of data are what we call as a structured data here. So, we can have a customer data like account number is a structured data, not the account balance. Account balance will differ, but is still a structured data. So, structured data has a lot of advantage because it is easy to deal with. So, the surveillance example used for the video feed for the camera, in fact machine learning algorithm work on different data types. So, first is a structured data, another is a unstructured data. For example, I am sending a message to my friend. So, hello, how are you? Along that I send a emoji. Okay. So, that becomes a semi structured. I have a structure and unstructured, and totally unstructured data will be like a video, audio file, a text file, or any video image I have are totally a different one. Okay. So, for example, when I send you a data like attendance sheet, you have to have a structured data like name of the person, hall ticket number, and unstructured data like a photograph. Okay. So, we can divide the entire world data into two categories: structured and unstructured. Most data is unstructured. The reason is we do not know what we are going to get the data type. So, like images, audio recording, document books, article will all be representing a unstructured data. Okay. And the advantage of having unstructured data is the size is variable. Unstructured data is natural byproduct of our life nowadays. So, we can't live structurally. Smartphone and social network facilitate the creation of an endless data nowadays. So, and I have a smartphone. I am going to send so many pictures to my friends. I will send the emoji, I will send the happy messages, and so on and so forth. So, those kind of data are highly unstructured. So, nowadays you need to have a little snap of a photo or to make a video. Analyzing unstructured data is difficult because we do not come with a practical solution until 2010, but now it is possible. So, as I was speaking about the unstructured data and structured data, so I was giving the example of a structured data, and why we want structured data, because structured data are easier to handle by the computer. However, the world is more of a unstructured one, and that is what I said. So, the reason is that we often collect the data for an exact purpose. So, if the data is collected for examination system, marks have to be exactly precise. It is easy to do a database management on the marks too. Okay, structured data is typically stored in a computer databases and files. In digital advertising and networking, we can apply a huge effort to collect data as much as possible. So slowly and slowly, we are coming from a data which was million bytes to a gigabyte and maybe terabyte. So slowly and slowly, the data is becoming very large, and then we have a term called as the big data analytics, which is another DS example. Now let us come back to our data. So we say data is gold for a advertisement company. Data is very important for a advertising company. For example, people would like to see which kind of advertisement when a match is going on. Suppose cricket match is going on or a football match is going on, which kind of advertisement people will like to go for. So naturally, people will go for a shoe advertisement or a advertisement which is a Cadbury kind of thing. Okay, so those kind of advertisement are very good, and that's what we say that data is good for an advertisement company. They collect browsing history, link clicks, time spent on the site pages, and many other features of the user. So whenever I am trying to collect a unstructured data on an advertisement agency, and actually how much time do I click on the, or how much time I see on the browsing history. Okay, how much time I spend on a particular website. So suppose I am a sports lover, so naturally I will spend more amount of time on the sports website. Okay, I am a fan of a cricket player, so I will spend more time on the looking at the history of that particular player. So many other features are in common. Vast amount of data allow the creation of an accurate click probability model that can be personalized to a browsing experience. So personalization increases the click probability. So if I have a personalized data, I'll have a more amount of probability to detect, and which increases my advertisement profit. So this is the advantage of a data science for a advertising agency, and you will be surprised that most of the data science, most of the advertising agencies now, they are mostly dependent upon the huge collection of the database they are collecting from the browsing history. So to increase their data supply, modern enterprises build their business processes in a way that generate as much structured data as possible. So from a unstructured data, I have to go for a structured data. So for example, bank record every financial transaction we make. It's highly structured, and bank has to follow a systematic way of working. Okay, so this information is necessary to manage the account, but they can also use the main data source for a credit score model. So how much credit I have earned, how much credit I have. For example, I go on spending the money on shares market, other credit card system, or cash on delivery system. So it depends on my data, and that data I'll collect in the banking system, and it will be used for a credit score model. So when I apply for a personal loan or any kind of loan, my credit score will be playing a very important role, and bank uses that credit score for giving you a personalized loan, or maybe a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler loan. So it's a applications of my data science. So these models are used customer financial profiles to estimate the credit and by default a risk probability. So if I am giving as a banker, if I am giving you a loan, what is my credit risk involved? So depending on my score, all my credit will be calculated by the model, and it will give me a risk probability of the customer. Okay, so the difficulty in analyzing the data come from the high dimensionality. So explain this. Let us say example, I have on x axis, I have a y axis. So it's a two dimensional data. So corresponding to x value, I have a corresponding y value. So for example, you can see that we can have a accurate guess of what value of y will be for a given value of x. So suppose I have given 100 number of customers. So what is my return ratio? What is my return ratio? So I can analyze the data, and this is called as linear line regression. Okay, so to do this, we can look at the corresponding point on the line. For example, x is equal to 10. So x is equal to 10, y is equal to 8, which matches the real data point as depicted as the blue color. So some of the point will lie on the exactly on the path of my line, some points will lie outside of the line. So I have to match as many data points as possible going through the line. So that is the basic idea of our data science. Okay, so for example, let us take another example. So another example, a photograph taken from an iPhone. This image may have a resolution of 4032 to a resolution of 3024 amount of pixel. Each pixel will have three color red color, green color and blue color. So, if we represent pixel in the image as a number, we will end up with a image of 4032 multiplied by 3040, which is almost is equal to 12 million of the values. So, to handle this kind of data, a computer will be unstructured data. So, you can put this kind of information into computer system and the data will be analyzed. So, using machine learning algorithm on high dimensional data can become a problematic. So, as we go on from 2D to 3D, it becomes a problematic, and sometimes we call as a curse of the dimensionality. So, many machine learning algorithms suffer from a problem called as curse of dimensionality. You go on increasing the dimensionality, you become more and more problem to handle it. So, to create a good data model, okay, that recognizes object in a photograph. So, suppose I give you a photograph and a person is holding a umbrella in a on a pathway and going beside a car. So, can I detect a car and an object, umbrella and an object? Yes, I can do it. So, you need to have a model that is more complex than the simple line. Okay. So, the complexity of the model increases as the data hunger of the model goes on increasing. Okay. So, the model that work well on unstructured data will usually require vast amount of training data on the sample. So, I require large amount of training data on the sample. So, this is the okay. So, I hope with this it is becoming clear about the differences between structured data, unstructured data and semi-structured. Semi-structured is nothing but a combination of a structure and a unstructured. So, text information, video information, picture information, they become a semi-structured data. So, I hope it is clear about the different type of data which are available in the data science. So, thank you for listening.